yang hadir, para hadirin yang ada di Dewan Yang Mulia ini, saya berharap semuanya intelijen, belaka, dan boleh memahami keadaan-keadaan yang berlaku serta
saya minta kat bawah ni tertolak sikit. Dia tak apa baik English. Kalau bahasa Tamil boleh tak? Saya faham itu. Nak balik kan nak dikirim.
Kena faham lah, saya bukan ceramah tau.
Benar juga penceramah.
Sehingga SD1 dan SD2 dan selepas itu apa yang berlaku selepas SD2 dan seterusnya saya sampai Bangkok, Nepal, Delhi, Chennai, Madurai, Chennai. Saya akan jalankan satu persatu, saya akan bagi tahu apa yang berlaku dari Abdul Razak berjumpa dengan saya sehinggalah SD2.
Siap. Sebelum kita pergi jauh lagi, yang daripada awal sejarah rentetan dan sebagainya, apa yang membuat saudara Bala membuat keputusan kali ini untuk balik dalam keadaan lebih berani kali ini? Apa sebenarnya yang membawa kepada keputusan mereka?
Kalau ikut saya lepas saya buat SD1 dan SD2 masa saya ada Bangkok, memang dari dalam hati saya masa saya berumur 14 tahun, saya ingat masa itu Barisan Malaysia pakai kapal lagi tau, dalam simbolnya kapal lagi,
Kapal layar kan?
14 masa itu pakai kapal lagi. Dari masa itu saya memang suka dengan Barisan Malaysia. Kerajaan ini dari saya kecil lagi memang saya benci dengan kerajaan ini. Sebab apa saya benci? Apa yang kita minta dekat kerajaan ini pun kita kena adakan kabel. Kalau kita nak minta satu-satu benda ni, kita kena adakan kabel. Kita kena orang yang pengaruh dengan kerajaan ni, baru kita boleh dapat. Sebab itu dari masa kecil lagi sampai saya sebelum itu saya nak bagi tahu satu. Saya masuk polis ini memang terpaksa masuk polis. Sebab apa saya terpaksa masuk polis? Bapa saya bersara dari kerajaan, gaji 300. Memang kakak saya kena belajar. Saya tengok bapa saya lepas bersara, memang bapa saya tak ada pencen sebab British bawa bapa saya untuk mengajar di sekolah India di estate. Bapa saya memang tak ada pencen. Bapa saya pernah lepas bersara pergi ke Kebun buat kerja. Masa itu saya dah tingkatan 5, saya dapat grade 3. Lepas dapat grade 3 tak dapat kerja. Macam-macam saya buat. Pernah jadi office boy di Ipoh. Macam-macam saya buat. 3 kali saya apply polis. 2 kali interview saya tak pergi. Kali ketiga terpaksa. Saya nak jaga keluarga saya terpaksa masuk. Sampai dekat Pulau Pol, bapa saya beritahu jangan. Tak apa balik. Saya cuba carikan kerja tapi saya kata tak. Saya tak boleh tengok bapa saya susah.
Okey, satu lagi saya sempat berbual dengan sebelum kita mula dengan persembahan slide. Ada satu fakta menarik. Tahun 2008 ketika tsunami Polyclinic, ramai berada di memainkan peranan masing-masing. Saya nak tanya, sebab ada cerita yang menarik sebenarnya pada ketika itu, di mana Encik Bala berada pada ketika proses tsunami rakyat 2008.
Masa itu memang tsunami rakyat memang saya cegah dengan Indra. Memang cegah dengan Indra. Kita dah buat satu pasukan, kita pecah. Saya ambil kampung saya Slim River. Slim River, Sungai Bidung. Kita dapat tumbangkan satu timbalan menteri dari MIC, Datuk Bira Sigam. Macam mana saya tak buat ceramah. Style saya memang style SB, saya tak buat ceramah. Tapi cara saya melaksanakan di kampung saya itu memang cukup baik saya buat. Saya buat rumah ke rumah. Saya jalan ke rumah minta pengundi undi untuk DAP. DAP. Bukan PIA, DAP. Minta maaf.
Saya minta maaf sebab kadang-kadang teknologi ini memudahkan dan selalunya dia menyusahkan. Okey, saudara Bala siap dengan presentationnya. Semenjak dia balik dengan tidur yang kuat, saya persilakan bagi ruang masa untuk saudara Bala dengan presentationnya. Seluruh fakta akan dipersembahkan pada malam ini.
Nama saya memang kenal kan. Di Bala sebelumnya bekas ketua polis. Tahun 1081 masuk polis dan bertugas di pasukan polis hutan. Dan tahun 89 bertugas di Balai Polis Sentul. Dan tahun seterusnya masuk cawangan khas bertugas di Subang Airport sebagai Terminal Control Officer. Sehingga tahun 98 saya letak jawatan, masalah peribadi saya terpaksa letak jawatan. Dan masa itu kawan saya mengenalkan saya dengan private investigation. Sampai tahun 98 saya tak tahu ada satu
Satu badan.
Saya tidak tahu ada satu cawangan private investigation di Malaysia. Saya tidak tahu. Tapi 98 semasa saya dikenalkan dengan bekas pegawai saya, masa itu pegawai saya, bekas pegawai itu menjalankan private investigation. Saya bersama dia bekerja sebagai, masa itu saya buat kerja civilian saja. Dan selepas dalam penyiasat persendirian, dua tiga kali saya tukar syarikat. Lepas tu tahun 2004 saya buat private investigation ini. Saya dengan kerjasama dengan kawan saya franchise license dia, saya buat sendiri. 2006 dalam bulan September saya dalam menerima panggilan daripada kawan saya yang bernama Bala Subramaniam juga, yang dalam satu tipe. Dia bawa saya, disuruh saya jumpa depan bangunan getah asli Jalan Pang. Dan dia kata ada satu pekerjaan penyiasat persendirian di tingkat 10. Saya dibawa naik ke tingkat 10. Masa saya naik ke tingkat 10, saya jumpa dengan seorang Rata Baginda. Saya jumpa dengan Rata Baginda betul-betul depan lift. Kita berdua keluar dari lift, Rata Baginda pun keluar dari lift, keluar dari pejabat. Lepas tu dia Bala Subramaniam kenalkan dia dengan Rata Baginda. Dia kata ini yang private investigator yang diminta. Dan dia berkenalkan dengan Rata Baginda. Masa tu Razak Baginda bagi saya tugas. Dia bagi tahu, dia kata tugas itu senang aja, jaga saja pejabat 10 hari. Tapi dia tak cakap apa-apa. Lepas bagi tahu jaga pejabat dia 10 hari, dia terus masuk lift, dia keluar. Saya mulakan tugas itu hari kemudian. Semasa saya tengah buat tugas 10 hari itu, dua hari setengah saya tengok macam kita buat sekelupikan. Saya kata ini tak betul ni. Saya kata sebab saya ni jenis tak boleh duduk setempat, saya kena jalan. Saya quit daripada buat tugas jaga pejabat dia. Dan selang 2 minggu selepas itu Dhiren Narendra, bodoh saya minum sikit. Dhiren Narendra, lawyer, peguam, telefon saya. Dia mengenalkan diri dia. Lepas tu dia beritahu dia adalah peguam bagi Razak Baginda. Dia kata saya kena buat interview dengan you, kena tanya pembayaran apa semua. Lepas tu saya jumpa Dhiren Narendra di Lake Garden. Saya ingat mungkin dia datang Dogi. Saya jumpa dengan Dhiren Narendra, saya beritahu punya bagaimana bayaran, bagaimana tugas saya dan pengalaman saya. Dan selepas tu dia kata saya akan bagi tahu Razak Baginda dalam 2-3 hari ini dia akan telefon dengan saudara pergi jumpa dengan Razak Baginda. Selang 3 hari Razak Baginda telefon saya sekali lagi, suruh pergi pejabat Razak Baginda. Saya pun sampai pejabat Razak Baginda dan dia bawa saya masuk ke tempat mesyuarat. Dia kalau saya jumpa dia selalunya di tempat mesyuarat. Dan dia ambil handphone dia telefon, buka handphone dia, lepas tu dia suruh saya dengar suara. Suara itu suara Cina yang dia mengenalkan diri dengan ASP Tan. Dengan perkataan dia kata, kalau you tak bayar duit perempuan, saya akan, but please let me speak in English. If you are not going to pay the money to this lady, I'm going to harm your daughter. Itu maksud dalam voicemail. Selepas saya dengar voicemail, saya terus bagi tahu sebagai seorang bekas polis, saya terus bagi tahu saudara Razak, why not you just lodge a police report. Dia pandang bawah, pandang atas, pandang kiri, pandang kanan. Dia kata saya tak boleh buat report polis sebab ada VVIP involved. Selepas saya dengar perkataan itu, masa itu kita menyiasat persendian, what ini the job. To get the job, I said, okay, what's the scope, the job scope? Saya tanya Razak Baginda. Razak Baginda bagi tahu, saya kena kawal rumah dia, kawal pejabat dia, dan kawal anak dia. Sebab the threat is already there. Saya akan harm your daughter. The threat is already there. He is very scared. Then
ugutan yang diberi itu oleh seorang yang Razak kenali. Ugutan yang sampai kepada Razak oleh seorang yang Razak kenali itu tidak. Razak tidak kenal.
Okay, I'll go that point. Semasa ugutan itu, selepas ugutan itu, Razak Baginda bagi nombor telefon itu kepada saya, suruh saya siasat. Semasa saya siasat, tuan punya telefon itu seorang lelaki Cina yang beralamat di Jalan Tun Razak. Semasa saya sampai ke tempat alamat tersebut, saya tengok kosong. easily like that. Selepas tu Razak Baginda bagi tahu saya, dia kata, I've been calling you anytime. But semasa Razak Baginda berjumpa dengan saya semasa voicemail ni, Razak Baginda dah tahu Aminah akan sampai bila masa. Okay. Dekat sini saya nak sentuh satu. Nak sentuh yang Cynthia bagi tahu tadi. Memang important. Saya nasihatkan Razak Baginda, why not with your VVIP protection? Why not you stop her coming inside the country? Razak Baginda bagi tahu saya, Aminah ini pakai macam-macam pasport, nama lain-lain. Betul. Apa yang Cynthia kata tadi memang betul. Dia ada banyak pasport dia. Dia tak pakai Al-Tanziyah Syarif. Mungkin dia pakai Aminah Abdullah. Banyak. This is told by Razak Baginda. Then within, I think, 2-3 days, Razak Baginda called me. That time, I was in assignment in Sentul. Razak Baginda called me. She is in my office. Please rush to office. Sebab kita masa tu umur saya dalam 45. Memang tak lalu bawa motor kan. Saya suruh assistant saya suruh pergi dulu. Kita tak lalu, takut. Saya suruh assistant saya pergi dulu, tapi saya memang ikut belakang. Dalam selang 10 minit saya sampai dekat bangunan kereta asli. Semasa itu saya naik lift di atas, Aminah dengan 2 orang kawan dia turun ke bawah. Selisih, tak nampak. Sampai dekat pejabat Razak Baginda, I went inside the office, I go and see him, then he show me a note. The note tu datang Al-Tanziyah note tu. Dan note tu ditulis, please call me urgent. I'm staying room number Hotel Melayan. Nombor telefon dia start dengan 017. Dan selepas saya jumpa dengan Razak Baginda, saya turun ke bawah, saya tengok ada 3 orang. Muka dia macam Cina, Mongolia kan. Muka dia macam Cina. Dan ada dalam lobi pejabat. Masa dalam lobi pejabat tu saya beritahu dengan 3 perempuan saya. Saya suruh kawan saya atau assistant saya suruh bagi tahu dengan Al-Tanziyah, jangan berdiri di kawasan lobi, keluar dari tempat sini. Sebab kita dekat kawasan sini kita tak berbagi tetamu engar. Then they also decided, okay, what they did, they just went down to the bangunan kereta asli depan KLCC itu, orang pergi engar orang dekat situ. Semasa saya suruh dia keluar, saya dah telefon polis. Saya bagi tahu dia ada 3 orang perempuan Cina datang bawa kacau dekat bangunan kereta asli. Tapi radio kan dah sampai, 2 minit sampai. 2 minit sampai, lepas tu 2 minit interview dengan Al-Tanziyah. Saya tengok, saya dari jauh saya tengok interview dengan Al-Tanziyah. Al-Tanziyah bagi tahu husband dia kerja di tingkat 10, nama dia Razak Baginda. Lepas tu Corporal yang dog ini tu datang bagi tahu saya, dia kata kita tak boleh buat apa sebab dia ada dekat luar pagar dan dia tunggu nak jumpa boyfriend dia nama Razak Baginda yang kerja tingkat 10 bangunan kereta asli. Then I have no choice. Then I call Razak Baginda and told that they are staying outside the gate. If you want to exit, please use the back door. Razak Baginda pun ikut nasihat saya, dia use back door. Before I go further, I just want to say, Razak Baginda parking dia punya kereta tu. Kalau kita jalan dekat tepi ni, kita boleh nampak kereta Razak Baginda. Dia orang memang kenal kereta Razak Baginda. Masa tu dia just walking across, just looking at the car. Then after that, when I see this, I know, I told Razak Baginda, just get out from the exit, back exit. He was person did the same. Then selang 5 minit Altan Tuyau jalan tengok kereta tanya. Dia, I think he made a call to the east, her private investigator. I think that time I don't know her private investigator, but later part I know that ada satu kereta Honda datang berhenti. Saya tengok tiga-tiga tu naik dalam kereta Honda, lepas. That is the first day. Second day dia orang datang lagi tapi tak masuk kawasan bangunan kereta asli. Dia duduk royan dekat dua pakar. But this time I didn't call the police. Third day, saya tengah duduk dekat lobby, dia datang dekat saya. Dia bagi satu surat, dia kata sampai bagi kepada Razak Baginda. Dia kata okey. Masa itu secara sembunyi saya ambil gambar dia dengan handphone saya. Masih dia bagi nota. Dia pun tak perasan saya ambil gambar dia. Then what I did, I just went up, I just gave the memo to my client, Razak Baginda. Dia baca memo tu, lepas tu dia tunjuk dekat saya. Memang sama, dia punya ayat dia sama. Please call me urgent. My number 017 Hotel Melaya room number. Selepas hari itu, Razak Baginda bagi tahu, panggil saya, dia panggil pejabat dia bagi tahu saya nak you buat surveillance Hotel Melaya, tambah anggota buat surveillance Hotel Melaya, tengok pergerakan Altan Tuyau. That means I have to cover Hotel Melaya, I have to cover Razak Baginda South, I have to cover the office. That means I need extra manpower. Then I said okay. Then I told him it will be extra cost. He said okay, you will pay. Then I made arrangement to put up my man in Hotel Melaya. Semasa kita tengah buat surveillance dekat Hotel Melaya, kawan saya yang saya hantar, yang bekerja dengan saya suruh dia jaga malam saja. Pagi datang pejabat malam dia pergi parking dekat situ, dia tidur dekat situ, jaga dia. Nama dia Suresh. Pagi tu Altan Tuyau turun, dia nak naik taksi, nak datang rumah pejabat. Dia tengok security guard yang jaga bangunan kereta asli ni duduk pula dekat Hotel Melaya. Kita punya terbocor identiti kita di hotel. Dan semasa terbocor identiti itu, Suresh ni dia mula bergaul dengan Altan Tuyau. Masa pergaulan itu banyak dia bagi tahu dengan Suresh. Hari kelima lepas tugas saya di bangunan kereta asli, masa saya balik, Suresh telefon saya. Suresh telefon saya, dia kata dia nak jumpa dengan saya. Lepas itu saya jumpa dengan dia di kawasan Sentul. Dia bagi tahu saya, banyak dia bagi tahu saya tentang Altan Tuyau yang dua bersama. Masa itu saya bagi tahu Suresh, our job scope is to cover RB, nothing to do with Altan Tuyau. I don't want you to talk anything about Altan Tuyau. It's her matter. I told Suresh. Then benda tu habis benda tu. Then hari ke-6 semasa saya berada di rumah, lepas pukul 7 saya kena berada di rumah Razak Baginda. Saya terima telefon daripada Hotel Melaya, yang staff saya telefon saya, dia kata dia nak duit nak makan kan. Masa itu saya pun dari rumah Razak Baginda sampai kereta saya pergi ke Hotel Melaya. Sampai di Hotel Malaya, saya parking kereta saya turun, saya tengah sembang dengan Suresh. Altan Tuya yang duduk tingkat 10 tu dia tengok ke bawah, dia nampak saya dekat situ, dia turun tangga belakang, dia ambil taksi, dia terus pergi rumah Razak Baginda. Dia pergi rumah Razak Baginda, dia ketuk tak apa. Dia pergi rumah Razak Baginda, dia panggil bastard, dia come out from your house. Masa tu anggota Nepal jaga rumah Razak Baginda, Razak Baginda ada di dalam rumah. Dia ambil telefon, dia telefon saya, dia tanya saya you ada dekat mana. Saya kata saya ada dekat Hotel Malaya, nak datang bagi gaji kepada staf saya. Dia marah saya tu. Lepas tu saya kata, dia bagi tahu saya, Altan Tuya ada depan rumah saya ini, dia tengah buat bising. Saya rush dari Hotel Malaya. One day I call the police. I give Altan Tuya's, Razak Baginda's house address. Myself and the police reached together. When we reached together, then I just called Altan Tuya. I said, you don't come and shout here. You know, it's not nice because the neighbors are watching us. You know, why not try to solve it simply? Dia lagi dia bising. Waktu polis itu dipanggil Altan Tuya, kalau boleh, you naik dalam kereta, kita pergi ke balai, you datang buat report. Dia pun terus naik dalam kereta polis, dia duduk dalam kereta polis. Itu polis yang datang dari jauh tadi berkata saya, anda mau datang. Dia tanya saya, dia suruh saya kenalkan diri dulu. Saya kenalkan diri, saya berkawan dengan sendirian, nama saya sekian-sekian, saya kerja untuk Razak Baginda, owner rumah ni. Dan dia kata, polis itu bagi tahu, suruh saya pun pergi ke balai polis, retrieve. Altan Tuya ada naik kereta polis, saya dalam kereta dengan kawan saya, naik taksi sampai balai polis. Saya tengok Altan Tuya turun dulu, terus masuk ke kaunter yang front desk. Ya, front desk dia panggil ada satu anggota polis yang beruniform duduk depan kaunter itu, perempuan. Dia kata she wanted to lodge a police report. Then I also reached. When I reached there, I saw she was standing. Then the police was taking the police 55 to lodge a police report. Then I told the police, I just kenalkan diri dengan polis. Saya suruh beritahu kak, tunggu sekejap, saya nak cerita dengan kawan saya. Lepas tu, I tried to talk amicably with Altan Tuya. Okay, what's your demand? Let me bring your demand to Alvin tomorrow. Okay, satu saya telefon dah. One day ke balai polis Springfield, I call Dhiren Norendra yang kenalkan saya dengan Razak Baginda. I call Dhiren Norendra, saya bagi tahu benda-benda ni. Why not you all come for support? Dhiren Norendra bagi tahu, if you want me to come to support you, I need to get the permission from Razak Baginda. But definitely Razak Baginda not going to give a permission. Then I was confused. When I was confused, I said, okay. Then I tried to talk to Altan Tuya. When I was talking to Altan Tuya, I saw her, the Chinaman who was picking her up the first day, was there. Then he introduced himself as P.I. Ang for Altan Tuya. Then I was talking to her. Okay. Semasa saya tengah berbincang dengan Altan Tuya, pegawai polis itu bagi tahu, why not go outside of your this front desk and solve your problem. Saya pun bawa Altan Tuya keluar. Bawa Altan Tuya keluar, saya tanya, okay. Semasa Altan Tuya keluar dulu, masa saya keluar ikut belakangnya, saya call Dhiren sekali lagi. Dhiren, I already speak to Altan Tuya. When she got some demands. When she going to say all this, I'm going to on my headphone. You just hear then you please bring this message to RB tomorrow. Dia pun kata okay. Then I sampai dekat Altantuya, saya kata okay, what's your demand? Saya pun telefon handphone saya telefon kan untuk diri Norendra dengar, untuk diri Norendra dengar perbualan saya dengan Altantuya. Then she was asking 500,000 commission for the submarine. She said she know Najib and Raza Baginda met them in Paris. She was the mediator. Then 3 Mongolia ticket untuk balik ke Mongolia. Only to Duman, 500,000 USD dengan 3 tiket Mongolia untuk balik ke negeri. Okay, but she gave me until tomorrow 1 o'clock. I have to solve this problem. If no, we don't know what she will be doing. You know. Then I said, okay, let me bring this message to RB tomorrow. The next day, I called Dylan. I said, whether you send the message to RB or not. He said yes. Then what's the one? Dylan bagi tahu saya, RB kata ignore. Then ignore, I cannot do anything. Then there is a phone call. After 1 o'clock, there is a phone call coming from PIR dengan Altantuya. But I never pick up the phone. I didn't pick up because I couldn't answer. I can't answer her. Then I called Raza Baginda. My client, I called Raza Baginda. My client, I told Raza Baginda I wanted to see you. Then the appointment was fixed 3 o'clock on the same day. Then 3 o'clock I went to Raza Baginda. I was very angry, because the first day they didn't come and support me. I was very angry. I told Raza Baginda, I'm going to quit. I'm not interested in working with you. I want to quit. Then Raza Baginda kelakar bos. Then he tried to pull me down. He tried to pull me down. Then I was so bit, I was very angry because if something happened, if you see lodge a police report that particular time, it's going to affect my investigation. And rather, it's going to affect my security license. Then he made me pull down. That one word I asked her, why? Did she so beautiful? You're keeping her as your girlfriend. This is BID asking to look her, financially to look after her. What are we going to do? Then I didn't know what to say to him. Then okay, then he told me that tomorrow morning 9 o'clock I want to see you again. We try to make some other arrangement to solve the problem. The next morning I went there at 9 o'clock. I met him. Then he told me that he was already arranged ex-UTK to cover this, to solve the problem, and asked me to do only 7 to 7. That means 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the morning. That means 12 hours duty in her house, in RB's house. He asked me to pull out all my Hotel Raya private investigators. Then I did the same. The next day he asked me not to take care of the office. He said the ex-UTK will take care of the office and take care of Altantuya. Then what I did, night duty is only 7 to 7. Okay. That is 7th day. Hari ke-8. Dia tengok. I just missed something. On the 7th day, the 9 o'clock morning when I met him, he said, any time if Altantuya come to my house, just SMS me. I know how to handle the situation. I said, okay. Hari ke-8. That is on the 18th Oktober 2006. Hari itu sejarah bagi kita, hari itu sejarah bagi around 7 evening. Masa tu orang Muslim tengah berpuasa, masuk buka puasa time tu. Then she came in a taxi with 3 of them. I saw yellow color taxi came, just past me. I was just standing beside my car, looking at Arby's house. The car just passed and made the U-turn and come back. She just buka tingkap dia ambil tangan dekat luar, dia kata happy Deepawali. Kereta tu berjalan, tak berhenti, terus jalan. Selang 20 minit, same taxi came again. This time the car went and parked around 150 meters from Arby's house. Al-Tantuya just came out from the taxi, he just walked past me, just direct came to me. That particular time when I saw she is walking towards me, I sent an SMS to Brother Baginda. The SMS, I said she was here. Then I got a reply, delay her until my man comes. Okay, then I just talking to her. When I was talking to her, she was telling about the problem, what the problem she was facing, about the meeting in Paris, about the 500,000 USD, all this she was repeating again. The same what she was saying in repeat she was repeating. Then I was nothing, because I know the police is going to come. The ex-UTK going to come. Then I was just relaxed and I was just talking to her, because I had to delay her, you know. That time she was asking me where Arki. Said Arki went out for buka puasa. She just be patient, she was sitting. Then there is one red proton arrived. When the red proton sampai, saya tengok ada satu lelaki Melayu keluar dari kereta, kenalkan diri dia dengan Azila. Dia kata, dia tanya saya, perempuan ini? Saya kata iya. When we speak Malay, she don't understand. That's why she just kept quiet. She didn't ask anything. After the gentleman left, she asked me who is he. I told her maybe it's the police. She just there. I didn't see she is panic, but she just made no noise. She was standing there. Then I saw this particular gentleman making a few calls. Sorry. Making few more calls. That particular time, I saw one blue proton was just driving very slowly, looking at us. The windscreen was down, very slowly, and went up. Within, I think, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, the car went up. Then I saw Azila came to me. He said, "He's picking her up." Then I told Al-Tantuya, this gentleman is a policeman, you have to follow them. She said, okay.
Sebelum proton biru pernah menjadi misteri juga dari kalangan asing.
Come on, then.
Okey, tapi sebelum itu saya minta sekejap sebab anak bunyi bising di luar. Nombor kereta WUD 2997. WUD 2997. Alarm berbunyi bising di luar. Jadi saya minta pemilik kereta untuk diamkan alarm dia ataupun kita diamkan kereta tersebut. Saya dah tak sabar banyak saya nak tanya ini kan. Okey, silakan.
Then before the car drove off, the taxi driver was running down and straight went to the proton driver. The proton driver went down the street and asked, "What's the matter?" He said, "She's supposed to pay me $100. Then what Azila did, she opened up her purse and gave the $50. Then the car left. Then after that, this particular taxi man came to me and arguing with me about the money. I told the man, why not? This area is Damansara area. Just go to Damansara police station. Definitely they're going to bring her and do a police report. You can meet them there. You collect the money." That gentleman don't want to go away. He's just sitting there, helping me for money. Then what I did, okay, because I have to do anything further. I have to get a permission from RB. Then you come and I just gave my handphone number. Why not you call me tomorrow? I'll solve your $50 problem. He said, okay, he just left. Once he left, the next day he called. He called. Then the same time what I asked him to come to Sentul Curry House. I was having lunch in Sentul Curry House. So he came, I gave him the $50. He just went off. He took the $50, went off. Within 20 minutes, RB called me again. RB called me, he said he asked me to go to his office to collect my final payment. Just make sure this is very important matter, my final payment. Then I went to RB's office. Then I asked RB, where is Altaria? He smiled at me, he asked me to guess. As a normal policeman, where you guess? Balai Police Travers, Balai Police Bangsa Maju. This is 2 police stations where they handle human prisoner. Or SB lockup. Then he smiled at me. He said, I also don't know. Then I just kept quiet, I collected the payment, I just went out. Then he wished me, because that particular year, 2006, Hari Raya dengan Diwali dekat-dekat. Selang seminggu saya ingat, 2006. Then he just wished me happy Diwali, I went out. But I'm still maintaining I have to take care of the house, 7 to 7. I have to take care of the house. Then sorry yang bodoh. Sudah lama ni. Ini ada susah. Okay, final payment. Where is Altaria? And this one you get. Selang 3 hari, RB called me and said there is a few SMSs coming to my phone. You know, there is a threat messages. I will be forwarding to you this particular thread message. Why not you just reply the message? But I never reply because why I must take all this effort to reply this SMS. You know, actually this SMS is the person Altairia's cousin whose name is Amy flew down from Malaysia to Malaysia and sending SMS asking about her cousin Altairia. Then what they did?
Yang sekarang Amy tahu nombor telefon Razak Baginda.
Yes.
You know, maknanya Amy pernah menghubungi Razak Baginda sebelum.
You know, he was saying, I don't know how he got the SMS, but he was sending SMS to RB. Maybe this particular, another 2 girls was still staying in Hotel Malaya because she's dead. Okay. The 2 girls were still staying in Hotel Malaya. Maybe she's the one who gave RB's number. Even my number, they both gave to Amy. Okay. Then when RB never replied the SMS, she was sending me very vulgar SMSs, which I also didn't bother to reply. They went to Danganwangi police station, and we went to Danganwangi police station. They lodged a police report, missing person police report. They brought the IO, the sergeant, to RB's house. When diorang sampai dekat rumah RB, I telefon dengan Razak Baginda, saya beritahu, Amy, the cousin is here, the police are coming here, what do you want me to do? He said, you don't let them to come in, let me handle the matter. Then within few seconds, he called me again, there will be a person named Musa Safri, will be calling you. I have already given my number to him, he will be calling you. You just pass your phone to the IO. Then what I did, within few seconds, there is a call from Musa Safri came. Then he introduced himself as Musa Safri. What I did, I passed the phone to the highway to speed. The both are talking to each other. Then they came back to me, gave back my phone. Then I managed to hear that I was telling the enemy, she said, tomorrow you go to Brickfield police station just to go and meet ASP Tony. He will solve your matter. He knows A to Z about this particular case. Then every of them left. Once they left, I think there's no, after that there's no incident. Okay, there's another incident. One final day, I'm still working in Army's office, night shift, 7 to 7. In the day, Army called me. He said he wanted to go to Brickfield police station to lodge a police report. He asked me to meet him in in Damansara, nearby to his house. What I did, I went and parked my car there. I jumped into Arby's house. Arby I saw with Baginda, both son and father, brought me to Brickfield police station and said, "Jumpa tengok ASP Tony ada dekat situ. Tunggu Arby." Then they made a police report in Brickfield police station. Once they lodged the police report, they sent me back. Then ASP Tony wanted to get a caution statement from Arby. Arby said, "Tomorrow I'm leaving to Hong Kong. All the statements, all the questions and all the answers, what I'll do it in, I'll put it in timeline, I'll send it to you." Tony was agreed. Then the next day, Arby left to Hong Kong. Once Arby left to Hong Kong, I think the next day is my job is over in Arby's house. Then I was doing my normal PI job. Suddenly, early November, I got a call from IPKKL. They said to come to DC9, IPKKL, jumpa dengan DSP Gan. Then what I did, I just went to tingkat 9, tingkat 8, jumpa dah. Pergi di DC9, jumpa dengan DSP Gan. DSP Gan tanya saya, adakah you pernah bekerja untuk Razak Baginda? Saya ada. Then first time in that particular, he was telling me Altan Tuya is short dead. I was standing talking to him. I just sit down. I don't know what to do. Then he said he brought the suspect. He asked me to do a one-way mirror. Then I said it's okay.